Today is Sunday, August 9, 2020. We're in the month of August already, but to God be the glory, great things He continues to do. I pray that this podcast reaches you in good health. This morning we are reminded of James 1 verse 17, which says that every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. The word variable in math means a term that can take on any value. It's a value that can change, but today we are reminded that there is no changing in our God. So in Numbers chapter 22, we read about Balaam the prophet. A quick backstory is that Balak, the king of the Moabites, feared the Israelites because he had heard of the many nations that they had destroyed and saw what they did to Sihon, the king of the Amorites, and their entire nation. So because of this fear, Balak sent some of his finest men to call Balaam, a non-Israelite prophet, to pronounce a curse upon Israel. However, the Lord said to Balaam when he inquired of him that he should not go with them, nor should he curse Israel, as Israel was blessed. In verse 20, we see the Lord giving Balaam permission to go. Now, for this, I had to definitely draw for another translation, as I was wondering if I had missed something. But let's take a look at verses 22 to 35. I'm going to start at verse 21 instead. And Balaam rose up in the morning and saddled his ass and went with the princes of Moab. And God's anger was kindled because he went. And the angel of the Lord stood in the way for an adversary against him. Now he was riding upon his ass, and his two servants were with him. And the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And his ass turned aside out of the way, and went into the wall. And Balaam smote the ass to turn her into the way. But the angel of the Lord stood in the path of the vineyards, a wall being on this side and a wall being on that side. And the ass saw the angel of the Lord, and she thrust herself onto the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again. And the angel of the Lord went further and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn, neither to the right hand or to the left hand. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam, and Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the ass with a staff. And the Lord opened the mouth of the ass, and he said unto Balaam, What have I done unto thee, that thou hast smitest me these 3 times? And Balaam said unto the ass, Because thou... I'm curious as to why Balaam didn't wonder why the ass was talking, but anyways. And Balaam said unto the ass, Because thou hast mocked me, I would there were a sword in mine hand, for now would I kill thee. And the ass said unto Balaam, Am I not thine ass, upon which thou hast ridden ever since I was thine unto this day? Was I ever wont to do so unto thee? And he said, Nay. And the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And he bowed down his head, and he fell flat on his face. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Wherefore hast thou smitten thine ass these 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand thee, because thy way is preserved before me. And the ass saw me, and turned from me these 3 times. Unless she had turned from me, surely now I would have slain thee and saved her life. And Balaam said unto the angel of the Lord, I have sinned, for I knew not thou stoodest in the way against me. Now therefore, if it displease thee, I will get me back again. And the angel of the Lord said unto Balaam, Go with the men, but only the word that I shall speak unto thee, thou shalt speak. I know there are many takeaways from this passage, but when I read it, what came to mind was, are our ears really open to the voice of God? And how obedient are we really to the will of God? Balaam was not a part of God's chosen people, but he knew their God. We see at the first visitation, Balaam was obedient to what the Lord said. And he told his visitors that he would not go with them to curse Israel, But the second time when they came with more to offer him and great promotions, instead of repeating what God had said the first time, he went to ask of the Lord again. I pondered within myself, why would Balaam, a prophet, go and ask a second time if the answer was no the first time? Is it that Balaam really wanted to go and was hoping that the Lord would give him his approval this time? I believe the beating of the donkey solidifies this theory, as if he was really thinking he would have considered it a sign, a bad omen, and returned home, but he was determined within himself to go to King Balak. Then I said to myself, okay then, why would God even give him permission and then get angry at him for going? I theorized that God gave Balaam a test with the yes to see what he would do, seeing that he had already commanded him not to go. But Balaam failed the test because his natural ears heard a yes when God's will was still saying no. No, this is not what I have planned for you. No, this is not where I want you to be. No, this is not what you should be doing. But because like many of us, Balaam's spiritual ears were deafened by his own fleshly desires. It affected his ability to discern the will of God. There are many of us, the first time we went before God with a matter, his answer was no. But we kept going back, asking, changing even the format of the question, and adding all the advantages, thinking that it would somehow change God's mind. And unfortunately for many like Balaam, God said, okay, go ahead, which was not to our benefit. There are many of us who walk contrary to the will of God, which is in the written word of God. And we know that we are, but we try every way to downplay it. And many of us use the I'm only human and God knows my heart excuses, thinking that it will somehow change the will of God regarding how we should live. My brothers and sisters, David said that the ears of the Lord is always open unto the righteous. But how many times have we stopped to listen to what he has to say? And when we hear what he has to say, how obedient are we to his voice? I pray that we will start out first by repenting of our disobedient ways. And I know that it's not always easy to follow the will of God, because the Bible tells us that the flesh is always warring against the spirit. But I pray that one day at a time, we will desire to put God's will above our very own. Have a blessed week, and may God be with you.